Yeah, well, it's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
Yeah.
What up, what up, what up? This is your boy Agree to Disagree, and today I'm coming at you with a slightly different kind of video. Your girl, JustPearlyThings, seems to have created a bit of a ruckus online. Just recently, she put out a video with this white supremacist, I believe his name is Nick Fuentes, and she said some things that got people up in a frenzy. So we're not going to review the actual video. Is just way too long, but I did find out about this watching a video from my guy O'Shea Duke Johnson, I believe his name is, and we're gonna review his video, and he had clipped out the specific points in which we want to touch on. So we're gonna watch it, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it.
A few days ago, JustPearlyThings had an interview with white supremacist or white nationalist, whichever you want to categorize him, Nick Fuentes. Now, Nick Fuentes is a 24-year-old man who is very outspoken about, white nationalism and things like that. So she had him on a live stream. Now, what's very interesting about that is JustPearlyThings has a podcast that is based in London. And I would say that the majority of her full-time cast, I would say, would be a member of the Black London community. Like there's King Richards over there. There's a few other brothers over there. And they've built that channel into a really good powerhouse. She's really organized and things like that, which would make me wonder why she's interviewing Nick Fuentes. Now, typically she talks about things like modern women. A lot of the things that you would see in the manosphere are talking points. And a lot of people have accused her of, stealing from Kevin Samuels or stealing from the manosphere and then monetizing it. But this interview with Nick Fuentes proves to me that she's trying to take her business into a different reality, probably because she feels like at some point there's going to be a dead end for the modern women thing. And I noticed when she's live, she doesn't get nearly as many viewers as Fresh and Fit. So I think she's trying to make the same pivot that Adam 22 is trying to make, and even like Joe Budden. They're trying to bring on like controversial people. You see Adam 22 bringing on people like Tariq Nasheed. He wants to have Tariq Nasheed debate people on his platform and all of that. And again, that's to get into a larger audience, right? And that's not just them doing it. It's a lot of people. Valuetainment is doing that same playbook. So all of them are trying to get into a different market. In doing so, they're using people who will have controversial views, such as Nick Fuentes. Now, let me just say this. Popular YouTuber Jason Black, who also runs the business YouTube channel, has pointed this out. When he criticized JustPearlyThings in the past, people were saying that he was a hater, he was jealous of her success and all of this, right? And this is what, Jason Black was trying to point out, that he felt that she was trying to take a diss at African Americans. So I want to play that clip and let's see if he's right.
I wonder what Miss Pearlythings thinks of African immigrants versus Black Americans, specifically descendants of slaves, foundationals. I wonder what she thinks of that. If we get into the immigration discussion, I wonder what she's gonna say if you ask her about that. Brace yourselves, all of her supporters.
No. And that's not a conservative position, especially not 50 million people in 10 years.
Right.
Because America's got 300 million. So, what is that? 1/6 of the population in 10 years.
And so why is that?
Why does he support that?
No, why are you against pro? Because in my head, see, I hire people from Africa, right?
Right.
Shout out Blessing.
Yeah.
And I just see like the work ethic of people that are like not from America, and they often work harder than the people that are from America. So in my head, it's like, wouldn't it help us economically if we had more, like if they had a certain like mindset in order?
Well, I told you you were gonna get your hearts and your feelings and your souls broken. There's no way you can defend her now and sit up here and say you cool with it. She just outright told you, well, they work harder than people. Now you know she means black. I like my African immigrants. They work harder than people from America. People.
All right, bro. Hold up, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, man. This is what y'all upset about. This can't be what y'all are upset about, because this, to me, is a massive reach. And what she said was 100% true. Yes. I mean, which immigrants, and she's talking about a specific kind of immigrants. Immigrants tend to come to America and work their butts off. And the reason they do that is because they're coming from a place where they had nothing. And so they recognize the opportunity that is at hand when they come to America, so they don't try to waste it. Whereas here, us Americans, we take advantage of how great this country is compared to the rest of the world, right? You can complain about America all you want, but compared to most of the world, if you live in America, you're probably doing pretty good for yourself. I mean, a lot of these places don't even have electricity, running water, and all this stuff. So when Americans get a job that's paying $10 an hour, they bitch and moan and complain, and they say, oh, well, this job is beneath me, so I'm just going to do the bare minimum just to get by and collect my paycheck. There's a lot of Americans who have that mindset. Meanwhile, you have these people who come from nothing, and they see $10 an hour, and that excites them, and they see this as an opportunity that they would not have if they were to stay in their home country. So when they get that job, yes, they work harder because they don't want to ruin this opportunity. They don't want to miss out on that $10 an hour paying job or whatever low paying job it is. Whereas, us Americans, we just feel like if we get fired, it's whatever, we'll go work somewhere else. Where, a lot of immigrants, they kind of have more of a scarcity mindset. So when they come to America, they work their butts off. So what she said is facts. It's facts. So how you gonna get mad at the truth? Like, come on now. I mean, and a lot of you guys who are against immigration, you don't put in the effort at your job. And then when whoever the heck comes in and he's working twice as hard as you and gets the promotion, you want to get mad. No, it's because they are putting in the work. So I completely understand like what she's saying. If I was to run a business, I want some of the hardest workers. And unfortunately, Americans have a negative stereotype when it comes to putting their best foot forward. Especially when it comes to these like lower paying jobs. I think that's really what it comes to, like the lower paying jobs. The immigrants come in and they'll bust out those lower paying jobs, whereas like Americans, they would just like complain and just half-ass it. So this can't be serious.
People from America.
So in this first clip, I thought it was sort of a reach because she's just saying Americans, and he's trying to insinuate that she's saying black people are African Americans. So I really couldn't.
And mind you, she didn't say black people, right? She mentioned that she does hire Africans, but she was saying she never mentioned black people specifically. So this is a massive, massive reach.
Nail her on that particular talking point, right? But it gets worse. Jason Black does a yeoman's job in really nailing her to the cross on this next point. Now, this is going to be a point about being on time, and you're going to hear what Nick Fuentes has to say about black people after that. I'm going to play that particular clip right there, and then we'll come back.
But I want you to get the full context of this, so when she says what she says, it smacks you upside the back of the head like a cinder block.
yeah.
I was like, STEM, no. They all said I was crazy. Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? Austin.
Well, but hey, you're very industrious.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that would like to be a YouTuber because they'd like people to care about their opinions and like what they ate for lunch and, things about my life that just make sense or whatever. But how many people could make a company and deal with the things you deal with, like recruiting and, because I mean, not on the same scale as you, but I do things and it's tough. It's a business. It's fun in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, it's a business. And that is a German attribute to be industrious. I'm Italian. The only times I'm on time for things is when I get the time wrong, when I think I'm supposed to be there way earlier than I'm actually supposed to be there. Because I thought I was supposed to be here at 3.
Oh, really?
That's why I texted you. I texted you, I'm on my way because I thought I was already 10 minutes late when I was leaving.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
Yeah.
Where are all the folks who said I was a hater? Where are all the folks who were sitting up here saying, well, Jason, you reaching, you stretching? Where are all of them now? I want to know where all of them are after tonight.
Okay. So the being late joke, it's not the most tasteful joke, but it definitely isn't the most offensive race joke that I've heard out of a white person's mouth. Honestly, I'm gonna just go ahead and say, I feel like even though this one was a little, honestly, I think this is a reach too. I think this is a reach. So from what I know, she's talking to her producer, Blessing, who is African. But from what I hear, they're very tight. So we have to understand the context. So for her to make a joke about him being late and they're apparently really close, I don't really see the issue with it. Now, I do kind of feel like she needs a little bit more awareness because when you're talking to millions of people live, so when you say those type of jokes, sure, it may be okay between her and Blessings, but for the rest of the world, they don't understand, the relationship that they have between each other. And so, I mean, I've heard white comedians make worse jokes than this. I mean, I think the aesthetics of it all kind of looks bad because she's talking to a white supremacist. So, you're looking for something to be said wrong here because of who she's talking to. And I think we need to be really careful about witch hunts. Like we got to be really careful about that, because to me, this is how it feels. It feels like we're trying to do a witch hunt just because she's a white woman who has a big black audience, so she's kind of profiting off of black viewers, and she works with a lot of different black YouTubers and other individuals. So to me, it does seem kind of haterish. It does seem like, who is this white woman coming in and getting our audience or working with these other black YouTubers? To me, it kind of looks like a little bit of jealousy, and so I don't like it. I know some of you guys, are not going to like the black person being late joke, but like, come on, bro. Like, literally, like, she just mentioned her friend. Now, it was weird that she said Blessing African. That was a little, whoa. But, but I think white people are allowed to make race jokes. You know what I mean? I mean, they can do it. They just have to be careful with how they do it. So I think we need to be like really careful about, you know, who we call a racist, because I mean, to me, like that doesn't sound like something that has any ill intent at all. And guys, we got to do better, because if we go around just start calling white people racist over every little thing, like no one's going to take us serious at that point. You know, like just because someone is black does not mean you can't comment on the fact that they're late. Like if I came into work late, my boss says, "Hey, you're late." Am I gonna look at him and be like, "Oh, you're a racist. You said I was late." Come on, bro. Like we can, you know, I mean, obviously if my boss was like, "Oh, it's because you're black, you're late," I would file a lawsuit immediately and sue the crap out of the company. But I didn't, you know, see anything really too wrong with what she said. And then homeboy said, "Oh, well, it's because, you know, because Blessing is black." You know, should she have had a little bit of awareness? Was there opportunity to be like, okay, haha, but let's not go there? Like, I think she could have maybe recovered if she, you know, did something like that. Like, oh, okay, well, let's not go there now. You know, I think she probably could have, you know, recovered a little bit if she went there. But to me, I don't know. I mean, me looking at it, I think it's an overreaction. I think it's a bit overreaction. I don't really understand why everyone's so upset. It was a little on the line, I would agree, but I don't know. I don't see anything to get upset about.
Yeah, ha ha ha, he. What's so damn funny? What's so damn funny now? Oh yeah, before this is over, I'm gonna name names. What's so damn funny now? You can't lie and say you didn't see this. Jason Black has been talking about this now for over a year, for about 2.
And look, I don't know who this guy Jason Black is, but does he always talk like this? I mean, what is going on, bro? His voice annoys me. It really does. It really does. I can't even take him serious.
And I've been naming this chick in particular. I said it from day one. Hey, she doesn't need to be given any space around here. I said it the whole time. Where are the folks who are sitting up criticizing me now? Because you're going to have to justify this. And you're going to have to justify why it is that Jason said it the whole time and you were defending it the whole time and you're just now saying something. By the way, yeah.
Well, I already did kind of justify it and defend it. And I think, and I stand on what I said. I feel like it makes perfect sense, man. I mean, go online right now. You can find so many different white comedians who's made all different type of race jokes about black people and people laughed. Like, who cares? Who cares?
You all thought she was going to leave it alone. That wasn't Fuentes who brought up the black people this time. He talked about him being late, and then she brings up the black folk around her. You know, those cute little African that she has working for her. She's the one who brings them up.
So guys, you can argue a lot of things, but one of the things you can't do is argue with the truth. That clip is really disrespectful, not only to the African person Blessing, because this is the same person that you said you want to bring to America because they work better than Americans, but at the same time, you're saying that, well, she's late, African, right? And then he says, yeah, she's late, well, because she's black. And then you like,
yeah, so the fact that she mentions that she's late, to me, is not a problem. When she said she's late, African, to me, that's when it was like, ew, like that's when you like, she kind of crossed the line there. Like, why did you throw that African in there? But I get she was trying to be funny. She was trying to make a joke. I'm sure Blessings was not offended by that comment. Me personally, I'm not offended by that comment. And then the dude added on, "Oh, it's because she's black," which to me, I feel like his comment was probably more offensive to what Just Pearly Things said. But clearly, they're trying to paint Just Pearly Things as the one with all the visceral hate for black people in our heart. But so O'Shea, you know, I enjoy most of his videos. I do think that I think people are being a little too sensitive on this one. I gotta say, the first thing she said, I absolutely had no issue with at all. The second thing, was kind of borderline, but because of the context of who she was talking to, I don't really have an issue with it at all. You know, again, maybe just being aware that you're live is you know, something she needs to think about. But I didn't see a problem with that. Now, apparently, outside of what O'Shea covered, there's more in the video where she says some things that are a little bit worse than that. So we're gonna go ahead and watch that clip and see how bad it really gets.
Oh, folks, we're not done yet.
Oh my God.
Jason, we dead on the ground. Can you leave us? We on life support. Look here, we're just gonna put you out your damn misery.
This man is so extra,
Because
bro.
if you thought you heard the worst, no, you ain't heard the worst yet.
Oh man, I just can't take it.
All of her supporters, I'm going to let this play here so that this goes in context, so nobody can say I took it out of its context. Tell me, how do you explain away this?
One way.
Yeah.
And America being one. That was when more immigration happened and the culture. We sort of lost the culture.
Yeah, because the lesson of World War II, based on the horrors of the Holocaust, is like, this is what happens when nationalism goes awry. This is what happens when nationalism goes too far.
But your argument was the Holocaust was not special and all countries have done that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so you're saying, why is the Holocaust special?
Yeah, basically.
Oh. Okay, what do you mean, basically?
Well, yeah, I mean, because of course, you know, we're getting into the details of it, but yeah, that's the gist.
Yeah, I mean, but you kind of deny it happened.
I denied some of the parts of
You
it.
deny parts of it don't seem realistic to you. You
Right.
think they were embellished upon.
I think they're embellished, yeah.
The same way. This sounds. Oh gosh.
Oh boy.
They're gonna
You're
be
gonna
in
get
trouble.
yourself
This
canceled.
sounds similar to the slavery stuff too, because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do, is they embellish. And I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible. It was.
Right.
But they want to make it like more horrible so that they can control people.
Now, though, that's her in her own words. 2 weeks ago, not 2 months ago.
God.
2 weeks ago. So for those of you that begin to talk about, well, Jason, what's Israel and Palestine got to do with this? Because they start warming up with that one, with the...
Okay. Wow. Okay, so the other stuff, I felt like, you know, you kind of searching for things. But here, yeah, bro. All right, this you should have led with this. That's what you should have led with, because that what she said right there. Yeah, that was you shouldn't have said that, Pearl. You shouldn't have said that. And homeboy talking about the horrors of the Holocaust. Like what does that mean? Was it not horrible what happened in the Holocaust? Like what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And it's like, and it's very interesting because he was talking about how he didn't believe that some of the events happened during the Holocaust, and it was made to be like worse than what it is. The reason I find that interesting that he said that, because Kyrie Irving recently got in trouble for posting about is it a movie or documentary or something like that, where it was talking about how a lot of the events in the Holocaust didn't really happen. Now, I'm not here to discuss whether or not that, the events happened, it didn't happen. Here's what I know. Millions of people died, and that is an unbelievable tragedy. So to me, like, the conversation it's not about like, how bad was it? Like, it was a horrendous tragedy that happened. I mean, that's the only thing you can really say about it. And so to like downplay it and say, well, this little part right here was a little untrue, to trying to diminish everything that actually did happen, that's where we have an issue. And the same thing with the whole, slavery thing. I mean, that was a pretty messed up time in American history. And, maybe she's just talking about the movie Roots. She needs to kind of explain that whole situation. So maybe she's just saying the movie Roots kind of embellished on things. Or is she talking about just like when people talk about slavery in general? Because what happened to Emmett Till, that's not an embellishment. Like those photos of his face all disfigured, that actually happened. The markings on black people's backs from being whipped, that really happened. So to say that it was, an embellishment, like, it's just, oh man, to say that on the live internet, it's just dense. It's just dense and it's insensitive. Like, why would you even say that? Now, what Homeboy said about the, Holocaust being special, I did kind of understand that point. That's why I was kind of like shaking my head. And this could just be me. This is just from my view is, we tend to put, or at least in the media, they tend to put like the Holocaust or in books as like the Holocaust is just like the worst tragedy that ever happened. When in reality, there's been other genocidal events where millions of people have died. I mean, just, thinking off the top of my head, there was a incident, I believe, in the Congo where it's like millions of people died. There was slavery where there's so many millions have died. And we don't even really know what's the real number of the amount of people who died in American slavery. Like how many black people died jumping off of the boat because they didn't want to live a life of slavery? What about the black people who were pushed off of the boat because they were sick and they didn't want these slaves to get the other slaves sick? So the amount of people who died during American slavery is immense. We don't even know what's the true number for the amount of people who died. And I think, and I could be wrong, I think maybe the reason why the Holocaust, it gets so much notoriety is one, because the people are white, and two, I think it has one of the highest recorded number of people dying. But, when it comes to black people, we don't even know what the number is for the amount of people who died, because, they didn't even bother to keep a track of the people who died because they just don't care. They don't care. And, I didn't even get to the Native Americans who, I mean, God, they just got completely wiped out. But we don't talk about that because it was America who were the bad guys in that situation. And yeah, you can say, it was disease that wiped out a good amount of the Native Americans, but a lot of them were killed, were murdered. And so that also is a massive tragedy. So as far as that point is like the Holocaust being, made special, I can kind of understand that. And this isn't an argument to say that one tragedy is worse than the other. I remember, I think I just watched a movie where it was like a joke. There was like what's worse, the Holocaust or slavery, right? And it was like a little joke. I can't remember the name of the movie, but Eddie Murphy was in there. And so, that was kind of the little banter they had. But it's not a competition of who had it worse. I think we can equally acknowledge each one of those tragedies and not be like, oh, well, it was bad, but did they really get their foot chopped off, or did they just get whipped and hung? Like, you get what I'm saying? And just like, did I don't see the purpose in discrediting a horrendous tragic event just because maybe some parts were embellished. Maybe, I don't know. Possibly it did, possibly it didn't. But to talk about that, it's just insensitive and not a smart move. Look, I'll give you an example. If you came to me and you was like, my grandmother got brutally murdered. Oh, it was so bad and da-da-da-da-da. And you was like, I mean, she was murdered, but was she like brutally murdered? I mean, come on, man. Like, I feel like you're just, you're exaggerating a little bit. Who cares? Who cares? Dude's grandmother was murdered. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you put brutally murdered and you're like, oh, well, brutally is exaggeration. All she did was get shot. Like, it's just a little insensitive. And to say that, in front of, I don't know how many people live on the internet, it's just not smart. It's just not smart. So what I would say here is, do I think Just Pearly Things is racist? No, but I think her comments were a bit ignorant and a little short-sighted, I would say. It was very short-sighted comments, and she probably should have thought that a little through. Do I think she needs to be canceled? No, because here's the thing. I tend to give people a little bit of grace. All right. So when I sit here and I record, I'm not going live. Everything that I put out is, edited, and, I review it before I post it. So if I say something a little crazy, I can be like, whoop, that was a little too on the edge. Let me go ahead and take that out. But, when you're live, when you're going live almost every day, you're just talking off the cuff, you're bound to say something that's a little, not appropriate. All of us say things that may be a little inappropriate here or there, but the difference is we're not recorded for millions of people to see what we say. And sometimes you get a little comfortable and you say, you put your foot in your mouth. And I think that's exactly what she did. She put her foot in her mouth in this particular situation. So the first two comments, for me, that wasn't too bad. But this last clip, yeah, that's pretty bad. That was pretty bad. I feel like she does need to clarify, or she needs to address that last comment particularly. The first comment, no. The second comment, but this one right here, yeah, it's a little bad. Now, me personally, like, I'm not the type of person who is quick to label someone a racist. I think that's a very serious accusation. So I don't. Just based off this, I don't think she's racist. I think the comments were ignorant, absolutely. But racist, no, I'm not going to go there. And, a lot of you guys may disagree with me. Y'all might say, oh, you love your little white massa and call me Uncle Tom or whatever you want to call me. But, to me, like, I'm not the type of person to quickly point and be like, racist. Like, I'm just not that. I want to see, like, the real, like, give me some real something. Like, I've been called nigga before. Like, give me something like that. Like, give me Kramer on stage. There's a nigger. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's racist. Like, you know what I'm saying? You show me a clip like that. Like, to me, that's racist. This, I feel like it was just short-sighted. It wasn't racist. I don't think she had any, like, real ill intent, but it gives off that air of, well, it didn't happen to me or my people, so I don't know why they're complaining about it, or it wasn't so bad. It wasn't that bad. It was, and plus it was like 400 years ago, so many years ago. Why are y'all even talking about, like, it gives off that air, like, because I didn't experience it, or because it didn't happen to my people. You got to understand that you got to have some empathy in this particular situation, and understand that it is a sensitive topic. So when you're saying stuff like that, you got to know that you have to walk on glass when you touch on certain topics like that, especially because you're a group who's unaffected by what happened. So that's my thoughts on this. You guys can let me know, am I overreacting? Am I underreacting? Should I be more upset than what I am? You guys let me know, what points did you agree with? What points did you disagree with? Put it in the comments below. And if you got anything out of this video, hit that like button. This is Agree to Disagree. I'm out.